Hello everyone, welcome to Get Education series. I'm G, ESD for Get Process. So today we are going to talk about membership probation. So in this phase, I will share I will share what is exactly membership probation is, and then like why we want to have membership probation implemented in our recruitment process, and then the membership probation criteria, and lastly is about like sharing the tips on how to implement your probation effectively back then into your LC. Okay, so let's get started. So when we mention about probation, like many people will have a general impression of probation is actually not a very good thing, because like we are literally putting someone into the condition or supervision that this person should follow the list of criteria or list of requirement that we set for that person in order to like kind of like pass the pass pass out the situation. So the thing is that when we even go and Google it, like what is probation about, is it like the first definition is about like a release of offender for detention subjected to a period of good behavior under supervision. So it sounds bad, but the thing is that looking into HR perspective, is actually probation is a process of testing or observing the character or ability of a person who is new to a job or role. So which mean having probation is actually very common in HR, and even in like nowadays when we actually go out for job or things like that, or go out for job, or even when we stay in our career, like we will definitely being put in probation period, because there is a period that our team leader or our manager will actually like closely monitor our progress. So later on I will share about more on like why in terms of from HR perspective, why we actually want like uh why we actually want to have this initiative, and also like why is it so important to monitor uh the newly recruited members, their performance when they just get recruited. Okay, so when we talk about like why we want to have probation implemented in our recruitment process, is all in all, it's just because of your recruitment process isn't 100% perfect. So the thing is that actually based on my previous experience, I actually get some response from other from LCVP PM, that they actually like kind of ask me come and ask me that, hey, I think like my selection process is perfect, that I already know that the person that actually I passed them from my selection process are the perfect members that I'm going to have them. So, and I think like having probation period in my LC is not going to work on, because in the end the probation process and also like the probation process is not going to be effective, because the person that I have selected in my selection process is already perfect. So the thing is that here come like there's a perspective that I challenge them, is that like no matter how well the recruitment process that we actually have in our previous MRD step, which is like starting from talent planning, like no matter how well we plan on our talent, like on our talent that we need, and then like no matter how specific or like how well your talent attraction is, and also the most important part is that how no matter how well the talent selection process is, but the thing is that it's always all too easy that for us to actually get recruit someone who is actually underperform or simply doesn't really fit in an organization. So like for example, this member A, he is very that he is very outspoken in our selection process, and then like very dominant in terms of the performance in the previous um selection process, and also at the same time that this member should show a very uh like a very good promising that a very good promise that hey, I'm going to be very committed in this organization because this is something that I want, and then like have to show a very strong purpose and things like that. But the thing is that when this member A should come into real like go into the real operation, there's a time that we actually can see a lot of things that hey, maybe this member A is actually like is just a very dominant person, and then like very know like very clear on what kind of value proposition that this member have in himself. So the thing is that having probation period actually give us the opportunity to assess the suitability of the role. Okay, so in this throughout the probation period, so we can actually notice or observe that hey, maybe these members isn't able to deliver the performance or doesn't have the skill that this himself promised during the selection process, or even having a poor attendance, or the behavior doesn't really fit in the organization culture, and also like the value that we are looking for in our membership. So all in all, it's all about like action speak louder than word, that in this probation period is the time that we will see whether these members really does this member really show the commitment, or also like deliver the promise that uh this person promised in our selection process. Okay, so yeah. So when we talk about membership probation, definitely there are list of criteria that we need to uh, we will have in the probation period, because there is the minimum minimum requirement that we can have for our members. So for this for probation criteria, like how we actually come up with it, definitely is throughout the survey to the LC compendium, and then to understand in the LC compendium what are the membership criteria that every LC actually have. So like these are the outcomes that from our research. So yeah, so the first one is definitely maintain a minimum of 70% attendance in LC event. So the reason why we have this 70% attendance in LC event is definitely to ensure that the engagement of the new recruiter members is being taken care. So at the same time, yeah, because like engagement of the members of the new recruiter member, it is very important, especially during the first period of they get recruited in this organization. So yep, so it's actually able to help them on how to uh, how to say like it's able to help them on to get adapt to the environment faster. Yep. So the second is achieve a minimum of 70% weekly commitment score. This is because yeah, it's like in Isaac when we talk about learning, like learning and development, or personal development, things like that, is all related to practical experience, because we believe that in practical that through practical and challenging environment, our membership able to learning by doing. So having this weekly commitment score is one of the indicator for them, so that they will be so that like their commitment to this to their new role, to the LC, and also to the organization is being monitored as well. So complete a probationary period with minimum 3 weeks period. So for this definitely 3 weeks is the minimum period that we have. And then if you have an interest or you have the plan to do the probation period with more than 3 weeks, it's definitely up to your decision, because I trust the your your role as a LCVP PM, and then you have a better understanding towards your LC membership. Okay, so so I think I can share a bit on my probation period that I went through before when I was member, when I just recruited as Isaac goes back then in 2016. Okay, so during that time I actually went through a 3 months probation period. So to the extent that I actually totally forget that hey, I am actually in probation period. So yeah, so the thing is that there's a but the thing is, I would say the 3 months probation period is very useful in another way, because like after 3 months, definitely we will know like um who are the members that we can actually pass the probation, because 3 months is a very long period. Then like you can, as a BPPM, you can observe a lot of reality in your membership. Okay, so and then the last one is about practice or having the behavior of either in Malaysia value, which is POC, proactive ownership and collaboration. And then most important thing is to have either value. So for this part is more to understand or to monitor whether this members he or she is having a like the align culture or align value that actually fit into this organization. Okay, so yeah, so yeah, so for here I will share a little bit on my previous experience of having a like how to implement membership effective membership probation. Okay, so yeah, so I think the most important thing of when we implement membership probation, the most important thing for VPPM to do is to have a very regular or consistent probationary review meeting. So for this meeting, you can actually like before the meeting with your team leaders, like uh to understand the performance, and also like how the condition of the members in the probation. Then definitely before this meeting you can actually uh do some uh do some homework or do some preparation to review it by yourself, and standing from like HR perspective, like in generally how your member is like how the probation plan is implemented. Okay, so during this meeting, you can share on your perspective, like looking through all the fulfillment of membership probation criteria, whether these members is actually like in which part of this criteria the member is actually not really doing very good. Okay, so in this phase as well. So you are going to get the insight from your team leaders, like how they are doing so far in implementing probation, and also like to understand more on the performance of the members. And at the same time, that the most important part is that to get a clear direction and also the feedback to the team leaders, like how to onboard the member better, and also like how to ensure that they are very clear with the probation. Okay, so like throughout the probation period, I think the most important part is that for VPPM, we will need to have a very consistent and cross tracking on the membership probation criteria fulfillment, because like from time to time we need to update to the team as well, like hey, how is the probation so far, like how is the probation going so far, and then to let them know to get everyone updated at the same page. So and then for this probational review meeting, it doesn't just happen like through during the process of probation period, but then at the same time when we actually want to end our probation period, then it should be ended with a review meeting as well, with team leaders, so that to get everyone at the same page on with a clear outcome of the probation, and like how we actually define or how we actually determine the outcome of the probation. Okay. So the second thing is that in fact having an effective membership probation is actually having another intention, which is to actually onboard your team members, like the newly recruited member better, because um in this probation you like we actually give launch this probation to the newly recruited members, so that they are more aware of what to expect from like throughout this probation period. So and then at the same time throughout this probation period as well, there's a period that we will actually monitor the performance very closely on the member, on the newly recruited member. So this is a time that BPPN you can get a lot of understanding on your reality of the members, and also like have a better understanding of what kind of um what are the knowledge gap or development gap that they need in order to fulfill their new role. And then like, and let's say if member A is actually having a low performance, and then what are the things that we can do in order to help them to perform better in this probation period. Okay, so all in all, probation period is not just about from one side that, hey, as a members as a member, I'm in probation, so I will need to do everything that I can in order to like to do everything that I can in order to pass the probation. But the thing is that in another way around, probation is not just about the effort of member putting in alone, but at the same time it should be a two-way effort, that as the team leaders and also as a BPPM, there are effort that we need to put in as well. Okay, so next is about the start of performance management. Actually start from when we do probation, when we implement probation plan in our LC. Okay, so the thing is that like the time when we actually have a lot of conversation to look back the performance of the member, of the newly recruited member with our team leaders, like this period is actually give time for them to assess their ability, and also like whether are they able to fit in into the role or the team. So and let's say member A is actually not really performing well, like member A is actually in marketing, so which means it's also a time that throughout this performance management period and also membership probation period is also the time that, hey, I observe this member A is actually performing quite low, and not able to fulfill the probation criteria. So after we get the understanding from team leaders, this member is actually like doesn't really fit in the task or also the role in our marketing team. So there's a lot of things that we can observe, and then we can find out from them. And also at the same time, it's also a period that it's also a chance or opportunity that we can actually for the members to see whether whether they are able to like their new job or this organization or not. Okay, since it's a trial period, so definitely they can, it's a chance for them to know lor. So so I think that's all for this probation membership probation education. So I think most all in all, the most important part is that I actually mentioned just now. Membership probation, like having membership probation implemented, is not just about uh, it's not a bad thing, because there is a lot of things that we can do, uh unlike how our predecessor, or how uh, we think normally what a probation will look like. So unlike, like as I mentioned just now as well, unlike our membership, like the normal membership probation that we did normally, is that we often have a general impression that membership probation is actually a effort that a member should put in, or the commitment that they should put in once, like in order to pass themselves from this probation period and get a membership in either. But the thing is that it's a two-way effort, that a team leaders, and also from our side, which is HR perspective, they are the commitment and also the effort that we need to put in, because that is the most important time, that is the most important time, as in probation and also onboarding happen at the same time. So if we are not able to give the sufficient support to them, then throughout this probation period, then I would say the member will definitely will not be satisfied with their role and their first experience in IELTS. Okay, so yeah, I think that's all for this space. And then if you have any question, you can directly drop me a message in Telegram. And yeah, so thank you everyone for listening to this video. Bye bye.